Hey closers, Maxwell here with Helpmeclose.com. If you are on LinkedIn at all and you're in sales, I'm sure you've seen the hilarious sales memes. I love these little memes. They can take a bad day and make you smile, help relieve stress, just, a good overall pick me up. And then, sometimes you need to laugh, especially being in sales. And so some of my favorites are this one, this one, this one, this one. I started noticing these memes before I started Helpmeclose.com about 9 months ago. So they were coming from this company called the B2B Sales, and I found out that these were all being produced by one guy, Dan Disney. And I reached out to Dan, and he was just always super helpful, very encouraging, really supportive. I told him, I wanted to start Helpmeclose.com and let him know that I wanted to help millennials in B2B sales and leadership, help them become the best that they can be. He was really supportive. Well, long story short, it's been 9 months. We've become friends, and for the first time, we've been able to hop on video and have a conversation. This is that conversation. So I'm very excited to share this with you. Without any further ado, here is the founder of the B2B Sales, the man behind the memes, Dan Disney. Hey everybody, so today I have the infamous Dan Disney with me. Dan, thanks for being on the show.
You're welcome, Max. It's a pleasure to be on this.
So a quick story. So I started really doing Help Me Close about 9 months ago. And before I did, I had seen your sales memes, and I loved it. I loved what you were doing. And for the people who are watching this, just so you get a better idea of who Dan is, he is one of the nicest guys out there. Dan, you really were a huge help to me and an inspiration to me of the power of LinkedIn, the power of social. So I want to formally, because this is the first time that me and Dan have got to interact over video.
Very true.
And even, hear each other's voice like this. I want to formally say thank you for what you're doing over there with the B2B Sales and with your blog and your personal brand. It's inspirational. So thank you.
More than welcome, Max. Honestly, and for you, when you started reaching out, it helps me, and it's been an experience for me to help, but equally you've helped me grow and develop, and it's amazing how you can create those sort of relationships. And I love what you're doing, both from a personal perspective with Help Me Close and how you've leveraged the power of social media in a very short period of time to benefit you from an educational point of view, for creating brand, creating content. Your content's top notch. I'm learning stuff from your content. You posted a video today about Canva. That was educational for me. I've benefited from that. So, power of social media.
Thank you. I find it hard to believe that you benefited from my Canva demo when I've seen the memes and things that you produce. They're hilarious. I love it. And on that topic of your memes, what's the story behind that? How did the B2B Sales come around?
Yeah, so I probably similar to you, really found myself through social media and LinkedIn a couple of years ago, and I started blogging and started to find a bit of a voice. And I noticed, through Facebook and a little bit on LinkedIn, memes were starting to pop up quite a lot, but there was never anything really about sales. And I thought, okay, I'm going to try and make some for salespeople. And, the early ones, they were a real success. They got mass attention, more than any content I'd ever created before. I thought, God, there's got to be something here. Clearly people find them entertaining if you can keep the professional tone. They lighten up my day. I look back at any of the memes that I've done, they still make me laugh. And so after creating quite a few, I thought, well, you know what, it'd be good to have a page where, I can share these on a regular basis. People can follow and engage with and hopefully, benefit from. So one evening playing my Xbox, I came up with the idea of the B2B Sales as a name, created the logo on an app on my phone. I create all the memes on my phone, and they all get shared. So through, an iPhone, able to start a social brand, grow a mass following and grow as a person. So love it.
That's awesome. So where do you get your inspiration for these? How do you keep coming up with this fresh new content? Because since I've decided, I want to get into blogging and develop my personal brand, sometimes that can be a struggle is coming up with new content. So where do you get your inspiration?
Years and years and years of sales experience, having been and done probably every part of sales, from cold calling, door knocking, account management, pitching, sales management, everything. I think that wealth of experience has given me plenty of ammunition, of creativity for creating humorous things, because there's so much that you can look back and laugh on. But you're right, that time piece is challenging. And when I first started the daily sales, I'd probably share one meme a day, and that was fine. That was easy. Whereas now I'm trying to create, 4 or 5 bits of content every day, keeping it fresh. It gets challenging, but because it's something I'm genuinely really passionate about, there's no end of fuel for it. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think you said a key word. You're genuinely passionate about it. And I think that's why so many people love your sales memes. That's why I love your sales memes. It's because you can feel that passion. You can feel that it's genuine. The people that aren't passionate or aren't genuine about it, you can really see it. You can hear it when they're talking, and they kind of have that fizzle. But you've been able to constantly produce top-notch content on there, and it's great stuff.
that's the real key there. And a lot of people sort of ask, how do you grow big followers, and how do you succeed on social? And consistency would probably be the secret sauce to any social success, because people come on social media. There are hundreds, millions, billions of people on social media. Not many are consistent. So some people will have a week where they'll share lots of content, and don't get me wrong, it's very hard to keep it up. But the key to big success in social will come from being able to do something regularly, consistently, give people something, a bit of a pattern, a drumbeat of content that they can sort of rely on. But definitely a kind of secret to success there.
Yeah, which is I actually wanted to ask you, do you remember, or was there one in particular sales meme that really kind of went viral for you that you're like, man, I got something here? Or was it more of just doing it consistently day by day by day? Because I think on your the daily sales on LinkedIn, they have 95,000 followers or plus now, which is just
Yeah.
and it's growing constantly. I think it was just a few weeks ago you were at 90,000. So going back to the question, was there one sales meme that kind of really hit it for you, or has it been more of a progression?
There are certainly more, memes that are more successful than others. The first meme I ever created was the Jim Carrey Dumb and Dumber scene. So you're telling me there's a chance? That was, and always has been, a really popular meme. The one that did the best, the one that really broke sort of meme records as such, and probably did 10 times more engagement than most, was one I did during the end of the last series of Game of Thrones, and it was with Jon Snow and the sort of a start of the month, end of the month, and him looking quite smart, and then him bloodied and battered. And I posted that the day after the last episode had aired, and it was just a right time, right place, and that just sort of blossomed. But none of those, they don't necessarily mean you're suddenly going to get 10,000 followers from it. It is that consistent pattern. So the daily sales probably attracts 500 to 1,000 followers every week, and that is just because of consistent, regular content.
So there wasn't just one in particular that really blew it up. It's been
It's been hard slog. There's no silver bullet that unfortunately means that suddenly you're going to get all the followers. It is hard work, consistent. But then that's probably the truth for any business success, any success. It often, people always want to know, is there something that someone can do for that lottery win, overnight success? And actually, the truth is usually it just comes from patience, consistency, hard work. And you get there.
So I'm sure you've experienced this, and I want to know. I'm curious to how you deal with it. I've given my go at doing these sales memes. I'll try and I'll see an image or something. I'll be like, oh, that would be funny, and I create it. I do my best job, at creating it, and then I share it, and it dies. It fizzles. No one thinks it's funny. And I'll be honest, sometimes I'm just like, okay, other people aren't funny. I know it's funny, and or sometimes I'll take a hit. Do you ever feel that still? Do you ever like put out a meme and it just doesn't blow up the way you thought it would, and how do you deal with that?
It's quite fortunate now, given the size of the follower base. And to be fair, I'm generally quite strict with what content goes out. I won't post anything for everything. I try to keep it to a good tone so that I know I've got a flavor for what the audience tends to like, so I'll try to keep to that. But certainly in the early days, I remember I'd be, you have a couple of really good memes and you think, yeah, okay, and you get a bit cocky or something, then you create something in a bit of a rush and you put it out and it just falls flat. No one likes it. Sometimes people even post, "This is terrible." You're like, oh, and it brings you right back down to ground where you think, okay, no, clearly I have to make sure I put time and effort into this. So certainly I've had a few of those, but as long as you learn from it and you respect what the audience wants or your followers, then you should be able to get it right.
So you said something really key there that I've been trying to get better at as well. You have to respect what your audience likes. How did you come to know what your audience likes? More so when you were first starting.
I think, LinkedIn's been the biggest success on a site that I've sort of used. And I'd used LinkedIn probably for a year and a half, a lot beforehand with blogging and things like that. So I'd got a very good tone of LinkedIn as a social platform, what people engage with, what they don't engage with. It's a professional site. So if it crosses a line and it becomes unprofessional or, with swearing, things like that, it's probably not going to go anywhere. So it's trying to create a tone that kind of meets the needs of the social network. So Instagram, they like different memes. Facebook like different memes. Twitter don't really like memes, to be fair. So it's looking at each social platform and what content fits it best. But again, it's trial and error. It's looking at content that's going around. The bigger network you have, the more content you get to see. So if you can immerse yourself in that platform, engage with people, you'll soon be able to learn. But again, trial and error. So some things are going to fail. You'll start to see what things don't fail and, work your way up.
Yeah, absolutely. That's interesting that you mentioned, using the different channels to their strengths. So you mentioned, Twitter doesn't particularly like memes. So I don't imagine you spend as much time there. You probably, focus where you're having that success.
Yes and no. I think it's important to use. You can benefit from all platforms. So I'm trying to make sure that I have a presence, both as me and the daily sales on all platforms. But it's learning. I'm still learning a lot about Twitter and Facebook, and it's learning about the audiences want, from that. So for Twitter, obviously it's more hashtags, quotes, online quizzes, things like that, sharing blogs and stuff. But it has to be. You have to share a lot more content. So you look at the people that are owning Twitter, they're posting, every 10, 15 minutes, and they'll post the same thing probably 3-4 times across the day. Whereas LinkedIn, you only do it once. You would only do it once. Facebook's a different ball game, and Instagram, again, picture of coffee probably does more than any meme that I'll ever post. So it's trying to learn and understand what each platform wants, what each audience wants. And, but you're right in the sense that I do put more into LinkedIn because it's the bigger audience. It's probably where I feel more comfortable. I would have to invest a lot more time, I think, to create equal success on the other platforms.
Sure, absolutely. And so I can imagine with, trying to manage content on all these different platforms, it probably gets tough to keep it up. What tools do you use, or what tools would you suggest using for someone who wants to build their brand online, who wants to, take a stab at social selling? What is it that you're using to help manage all these, different accounts?
So Hootsuite, I've been using that for a couple of years now, and it's always done me well. The only thing it can't do, so I've had to use something else. You can't post to a LinkedIn company page through a mobile with Hootsuite. So I've now used a platform called Buffer. And with that, you can actually post content directly to the daily sales company page on LinkedIn, which is really helpful. But it is a pain. There doesn't seem to be a single platform that can do everything. Instagram, again, you can't schedule and share content direct to Instagram. It comes up with a few barriers where you have to open up the app, and doesn't share it automatically, which is a shame. If I mean, there's got to be an opportunity there for a platform that can literally share on every single platform their pieces of content. But beyond that, Hootsuite does it perfectly for LinkedIn. It does it great for Twitter, Facebook. No interruptions. It's easy. I can schedule 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I think at the most I've scheduled is sort of 5 weeks in advance, which then allows me to step back and create content, etc.
Yeah, since you started doing the daily sales, I can imagine that it's pretty. It can be difficult doing it every single day. Uh, are there ever times that you take a break from it, or want to take a break from it?
I don't think I ever want to take a break for it. I genuinely enjoy it. I genuinely really enjoy watching. I enjoy creating the content. I enjoy sharing it. I enjoy sharing other people's content, seeing the reactions, the debates, the likes, etc. It's a really fun thing to watch. So I do genuinely enjoy it. But yes, it is very hard, and certainly as the level of content, as the network grows and the level of content required to feed the network grows, it does get challenging to keep creating original, fresh content. Blogging, it comes with the same block. So I wrote a blog 3 weeks ago now, and it just blew up. It's done 360,000 views in 3 weeks. It's been insane. But since then, I've really struggled to write another blog from perhaps the pressure of the success of that. And I don't expect to achieve that success again in a blog anytime soon. But it has drained, I guess, a lot of that creativity. So I'm having to start to find new inspiration, etc. But then I do that by reading or watching films, or there's listening to podcasts. I'll read a book or I'll listen to a podcast, and I'll probably come up with 4 or 5 blogs just from listening to other people talk about sales. So yeah, got to keep those creative juices replenished.
Absolutely. And it's interesting too that I saw that you had that recent success with that blog post where you've over 160,000 views, which is, for those people who don't follow LinkedIn or don't use it very often, aren't familiar with the blogging feature of it. LinkedIn recently changed its algorithms to where it's been incredibly much more difficult to get that type of
Massively,
response.
massively.
So what do you think it is that you did with that blog post that you were able to overcome, or I guess hack the algorithm almost? Because since they've changed it, there's been very few people I've seen have that type of response on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it's hard. It's been. I mean, I've noticed it with the daily sales. So whereas our content would go further, our followers would grow a lot quicker. It's slowed down quite a lot, which is frustrating, and it's a shame because again, I've used LinkedIn so much over the last couple of years and have benefited a lot from it. So I'm hoping some of that changes for that blog and that growth. So 360,000 views in 3 weeks. You don't get many blogs at all that reach those sort of heights, and it's not been featured on any of LinkedIn's pages. There's no usual things, bar me sharing it on the daily sales, but that never takes anything to that sort of height. I think, and I did write a blog actually what I thought the key to the success of that blog was, but for me, I think it was bar all of the rules I follow when writing a blog. So image, title, content, call to action, engagement pieces, etc. I think the key that took it to that success was the timing. And I mentioned it before with that, Game of Thrones meme. At the moment, everyone in the sales industry is talking about social selling, cold calling, and everyone's getting really bored of it and aggressive and angry. And, it's not going to be the end of it. We're never going to, cold calling is always going to reign supreme. And there's this real, it's gotten really deep and under a lot of people's skins. So to come out with a post that was titled 10 things in sales that will never change and provide people a bit of reassurance that actually, regardless of all the social media, etc., these are the things, the values in sales that will never change, never changed over history, and they won't change in the future. I think it was that tone of content that just met the needs of the industry at the time, and it's I've never had that success in 2 years. I may not have it again for time to come, but if you can identify that tone in your industry or in your social sphere, that's, I think, the secret to viral success.
That is great advice right there. I mean, compared to that, my success has been just so minimal. I think my best blog post got maybe 4 or 5 thousand views.
That's really good on
And
LinkedIn though, and you'll vouch for that on LinkedIn. Those are good numbers. The majority of people that post blogs on LinkedIn, they might be lucky to get 10 to 50 or even a couple of hundred views. That's the reality
yeah,
given network size. So to get 4 to 5 thousand, that's a real achievement.
yeah, true, very true. Yeah, nowadays I think if I'm breaking a couple hundred, like that's with the new algorithm, I'm ecstatic about it. And to be honest, I focus less on doing that. And enjoyed doing more of these videos. But I'm sure I'm curious. Did you have to turn off the notifications when when your blog blew up like that? I bet your phone was just going crazy.
Funny thing is, I don't have social notifications on my phone. I got
Really?
bored of those years and years ago. Yeah, I couldn't stand just the constant. Not that I never ever had that sort of constant, but I just didn't like. I like to be notified of texts and phone calls. That's about it, really. I'll log in on semi-regular occasions to then check and update it. But it was, I mean, and again, this is where I'll be a real advocate for how social can help businesses, because that blog and the success it had, the audience it reached, suddenly I've probably gained 4 to 5 thousand followers to me personally from that one blog. The visitors to my website, the subscribers to the daily sales from it, because it was all sort of included in the bottom. Everything has just rocketed through it. So you think from a business perspective, if a business could do that, how much social success that would give them, how many customers it could attract to their website, to their products, to their content, to their followers. And that's why social is such a powerful tool. If you can do it right, if you can understand the basic principles and then, utilize certain occasions to perhaps amplify reach. But again, like you're doing already, by consistently doing things and growing connections and networks, you're able to reach bigger audiences. And what you're doing with the videos is spot on, because that's where it's going. I've started to realize, I could spend an hour or so writing a blog, but I could probably spend 5 minutes creating a video and still get the message across, but in a more bite-sized way that actually most people probably prefer to take that information now. So yeah, you're definitely on the right track, Max.
Thank you. Yeah. No, yeah, videos have been fun, and you and I talked a little bit about this before we hit record. They can be, they have their challenges. They can be a little awkward. For example, I apologize if this video isn't the best quality to everybody. I'm doing it in my car because, hey, I'm in outside sales, and that's the resources that I have. And so, and that's okay. I think as people start diving into new mediums, primarily video, a lot of people get scared of, oh, I want it to be perfect. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of naturally want to be a perfectionist. And I
You can see it
realize,
in your brand. You can see it in the Helpmeclose. Everything you do, it's got a real quality to it, and I think that will be a big key to your success as it sort of continues. But you're right, and I'm the same. I mean, I'm here at home. I'm using the laptop camera, so it's a lot fuzzier. I've got poor lighting, and I'd love to be in a nice little studio with bright lights, so I look a lot better than I do now, and with a better microphone, so I sound better. But you're right. I think, and to put it in a bit of perspective, I think I know I enjoy watching content that's more real, because, not in a studio and disconnected from the sales industry. Like you say, you're selling. I mean, that's what you've been doing before we took this call. You're out there selling. And so who better to talk to hear about than real salespeople?
yeah, and it doesn't need to be perfect. It just has to be real. And things are going to happen. Like so for people that don't know, I'm in the West Coast. I'm in California, in Sacramento, by a train station. So at any moment, a train could be coming by, or I'm in a private parking lot. Don't be surprised if parking enforcement comes and knocks on the window and tells me to get out of here. But hey, that's real life. That's sales. That's what makes it fun.
No, 100%. I mean, you look at Brian Burns and the brutal truth about sales and that. His videos have always been him out and about on his phone with his headphones in, but he delivers powerful messages, and it's real. He's out there. He's on the front line, and so and his videos do great. So it goes to show you don't need a flashy studio. You have to have a good message, and
Yeah.
that's what you're delivering. So.
Exactly. So for those who want to, work on developing a brand and are maybe afraid of creating content or don't feel like they have the time and can't put the effort into it, the message is, just get out there, do it, start doing it. You'll get
Try
better.
it.
Yeah, try
Yeah.
it. You'll get better as you go. And I think if you're having fun and learning, that's the I think my favorite thing about doing all this is the opportunity to learn, opportunity to have conversations with people like you, Dan. I mean, um, I can't even imagine 10 years ago being able to network and meet people over in the UK and have these valuable relationships. That's the power of social for me, at least, or one
I
of.
know. Yeah. You can see how it's benefited you. It's benefited me massively. I mean, to get to talk to and meet, these great people in the industry that I aspire to, that I'm sure you aspire to. We read their books, we listen to their content, and then you get to, meet them through social media and eventually meet them through video, meet them in person. But you've already built relationships, you're learning from them. It's a massive way to enhance learning. I think social learning is probably a salesperson's greatest tool. And I think I put a post about it on LinkedIn the other day, just saying, every salesperson should have LinkedIn, not just for the selling benefits, but for the learning benefits, because you're surrounded by so much free content, blogs, videos, podcasts, statuses, quotes. So much value to learn there that could help any and every salesperson in the world. So it's a massive tool, and people like yourself, you're massively benefiting from it because you're talking to and not including me, but you're talking to the greatest people in the industry, Jeb Blount, Deb, Lee Bartlett, all these people that you've built relationships with through social media that you're learning from. How else could you do that?
Absolutely, it's truly invaluable information too, because you get to borrow from their experiences and make them their own, learn from their mistakes. Um,
Yeah.
I want to shift gears here a little bit because speaking of relationships across countries or across the pond, as you guys say out there, um, you got to recently deliver a keynote, and
Hmm.
I would have loved to have been there. Uh, can you share with me and the audience a little bit? Tell me what that opportunity was, where you were delivering the keynote, what was the topic, and kind of give us a little bit of a summary because I wish I was there, wish I could have seen it, but I'd love to hear from you about that
Yeah, no,
experience.
I wish you'd been there as well, Maxwell. And like I said, maybe next year we'll be able to get you across the pond to come and see it again. But yeah, it was a great opportunity. So in England, in the UK, we don't have many sales events. In fact, we have two. We have two a year, two key events, which I think is probably dwarfed by the amount of great events that you have over there. So one of those events is the Sales Innovation Expo, and it's Europe's leading sales event. So I had this fantastic opportunity to deliver a keynote on using humor in sales, which is clearly the tone for the daily sales with the memes and everything. But I wanted to kind of go into how humor could help salespeople. And I sort of looked at three key areas. So one was using humor to build relationships. So using it to break down barriers, build trust, show the prospects and customers that you're a human being, you're a real person, instead of sticking to some sort of robotic sales script where they know you're just trying to sell something. Building more valuable relationships. The second piece was about sales offices. So bringing humor into that sales environment to help lighten it up, to give people that sort of energy, motivation, make them sound more positive on the phone because they're having fun, which in turn will create much more productive and effective salespeople. And the last bit, which is kind of what we've been talking about, was around social content. And the unfortunate fact is a lot of salespeople, especially, when they think about social selling, they think, oh, okay, I can just write a blog about my product and my company and how great it is, and everyone's going to read it and want to buy it. And then they get 5 people read it and it doesn't do anything. We've probably wasted 1 to 2 hours doing that to no benefit. Whereas actually, if you could create and offer content value, whether it's a meme that's entertaining, it could be a blog that's, more informative about the industry, humorous content goes a lot further because people like to be entertained, but then they're going to follow you. They're probably going to engage with you. And then you can start to, either subliminally advertise your products or, including it within, call to action, or maybe check out our page and bring them to your website, bring them to your products, but on their terms, not you just trying to throw it in their face. So those were the 3 points that I got to talk about, and it was a fantastic experience. It was my first keynote, and I'm a pretty confident person. I've been in sales for too long to not be confident, but the 2 hours before I delivered it, I've never been more scared in my life. And I think anyone who came and saw me before I went on stage will vouch for the fact that I was pacing up and down the entire expo. But the moment I took a foot on stage, the moment I got on and started talking about it, I loved it. I'm annoyed I didn't record it, but next year, hopefully when I'm back there, I shall make sure I get it properly recorded and streamed live, etc. So hopefully more people can share it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Do you have any other keynotes lined up in the future?
Yeah, I've got 3 more speaking opportunities, not keynotes, but speaking opportunities at some great events here in the UK for the rest of this year. And not that it's out there publicly yet, but I have just been asked to keynote again at the expo next year, which is fantastic, and I'm really excited about. So now I've got to start preparing a different keynote for next year. But an honor to be invited back to deliver it again, and it's going to be bigger and better next year.
Well, it's when this video goes public, it's the cat's out of the bag that Dan is going to be speaking at the keynote next year, and we'll definitely look forward to that. And yeah, absolutely, I would love it if I'm not able to make it, if you recorded it, so we could all benefit from that, because I think those are really important topics. Ones that we don't usually address, sales humor. In the office, because you're absolutely right. If you can have a lighter environment where people are sharing and sharing jokes, being humorous, as of course, always being appropriate. It changes the tone when you're talking to a prospect or a customer, especially when you're over the phone. So
sales is a tough game. It's a real tough game. You've got targets, you've got pressure. The company wants to meet all these massive expectations, and so they want salespeople. They want them drilling down on the phones or out at meetings and pitches. They just want them selling. That's all they want. They want to see that return. And it's tough for the salespeople because they're slogging it. They're the ones making call after call, getting told no, and objection after objection, all these challenges. And if you can provide a bit of light in that sort of dark environment that it can often be, in the nicest way possible, if you can provide a bit of light, a bit of entertainment, take that pressure away, keep them going. That's the energy that salespeople need, just to help them get through. Because we all know through the excessive amount of no's will be a yes. So if there's anything that can help you push through those no's, push across those objections, push through those barriers, and get you to those yeses, then it's a win for everyone.
Absolutely. Well, Dan, I want to thank you again for joining us today. Before we go, I would like to ask, do you have any tips or suggestions to salespeople that they could apply to bring more humor into working with their prospects? Are there any rules or do's or don'ts that they should be aware of?
Yeah, I mean, tone's the key thing. So, make sure you keep it to a tone that's suitable for your office, suitable to the customers. Keep it to a professional tone, but be comfortable, relax. Be confident in what you're doing and what you're talking about. Be comfortable with who you are. Find what sort of humor works for you. But yeah, ultimately enjoy it. I think if you can enjoy your job more, if you can enjoy selling more, the customers are going to enjoy talking to you more. Your managers are going to enjoy working with you more. So yeah, find the tone, be comfortable in it, practice, but there are so many benefits from it, so don't be scared of it.
Yeah, definitely. I can agree with that. And I like how you mentioned, humor and how it helps people realize that you're a person. And I think it's, at the end of the day, whether you're selling on social, if you're a hardcore advocate of it on the left side, or if you're an advocate of cold calling over the phone, or if you're for AI, or wherever you are on the spectrum, the many spectrums within sales, at the end of the day, people buy from people they like. And so whether that's on social or in person, you'll find success. And I think using humor like you have will help people genuinely like you, and which will lead to more sales, of course.
No, massively. And you're right. Doesn't matter how you're selling, and certainly all this talk about AI in the sales industry and automation and things like that. yeah, it's going to have an impact, but like you say, people will always buy from people. And if you want to create that personable relationship, show them that you're a human being. Show your light side. Show them that you do care. You know, you do want to have a bit of fun in throughout that process. It will always have a big impact.
Awesome. Dan, is there anything that we can expect coming up from either you or the daily sales in the next year that we should be looking forward to? Or
well, I'm going to continue making hopefully funny memes and hopefully writing blogs that people enjoy reading. But one thing I'm working quite hard on at the moment is a couple of books. I really want to bring out some sales books that will hopefully really help a lot of salespeople across the world. So in the near future, hopefully there'll be some good books coming out.
Awesome. Well, we definitely look forward to that. We'll have to make sure that I get a copy and I can read through that and give it the thumbs up. Of course, I'm sure it will be hilarious in a good way, good tone, and definitely look forward to it. Where's the best place for our viewers to either connect with you or to get more of the daily sales?
Yeah, so I mean, personally, I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Please feel free to reach out, connect, follow. And the Daily Sales, please check out the Daily Sales. Again, we're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check out the website, www.thedailysales.net. Hope you enjoy the content. And yeah, thank you for checking it out.
Awesome. Thank you. I had to mute you real quick. A train was driving by, or mute myself. Yeah, the train drove by, so that's the cue. But thanks again, Dan. I appreciate you giving the time and for all the wonderful, hilarious content that you're bringing into the world of sales.
Well, thank you for having me on, Maxwell. You're doing a top job.
Thanks.